Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are wading into, well, what is arguably the most fiercely contested title fight in the entire animal kingdom, lion versus tiger.
Absolutely. This debate has been raging forever. I mean, in history books, bar discussions, ancient Roman colosseums.
Exactly, and we're here to finally use this stack of sources you provided, all the field studies, the biomechanical proxies, to try and settle it. Who is the true apex ruler?
It's just so fascinating because culturally, the lion is the king.
Yeah.
Right? He's the symbol of royalty, courage,
The king of the jungle.
the king of the jungle, despite the fact that, lions don't even live in jungles. They're savanna animals.
Right.
So our mission today is really to move past all of that cultural folklore, and ask a very, very precise biological question.
And that question, which really dictates our whole framework for this deep dive, is, does the crown of ruler belong to the individual? The one with superior physical capability.
Yeah, is it awarded to the species that achieves ecological dominance through group control?
That's the core of it.
That is the essential distinction. Are we crowning the perfected solo athlete, or are we crowning the powerful politician who controls territory with a coalition? The sources really force us to separate individual prowess from group power.
And that's where it gets complicated.
That's where it gets really interesting.
Okay, let's unpack this. And let's start with the most basic measurable metrics, the tail of the tape. When we talk about dominance, you have to start with the raw physical hardware. Size, weight, muscle. Who comes in heavier?
Well, in terms of sheer biomass, it's not even close. The tiger is the undisputed heavyweight champion.
Not even close.
Not really. We're looking at adult male Bengal or Siberian tigers, and they consistently average between, say, 200 and 300 kilograms.
Wow. Okay. And the lion.
A big, robust male African lion.
Yeah.
He'll average maybe 190 up to 225 kilos.
So on average, the tiger is substantially heavier.
Substantially.
Right.
Sometimes by 75 kilograms or even more, which is a massive, massive difference when you're talking about two animals of a similar build.
But I've seen sources where the weights can overlap. A really big lion and a smaller tiger.
They can, but that extra weight on the tiger isn't just fat. It's about how they carry that weight. It's all about composition.
Right. And that's where the biomechanics come in.
Exactly. The tiger's muscle mass is estimated to be around 70% of its body weight. It's incredibly dense muscle, built specifically for that explosive short burst power you need for a solitary ambush.
And the lion, more of an endurance build.
The lion is built differently, yeah. Its muscle mass is closer to 60%. It's built for endurance, for patrolling huge territories, for the longer-term demands of social life.
Chasing off rivals, group hunts.
Exactly. The tiger is the sprint specialist. The lion is sort of the marathon runner of the big cats.
The sources also point to a pretty big difference in agility, giving the edge to the tiger. Why is that?
It goes right back to their environment. The tiger has to navigate these dense forests, taiga, uneven terrain. So it needs a very flexible spine, a lower center of gravity.
For complex movements.
For complex movements, exactly. The lion is built for durability in these open field social scraps. It has a stiffer spine. It basically sacrifices that hyper-agility for just sheer structural resilience.
That makes perfect sense. The lion needs to take a hit, and the tiger needs to turn on a dime. What about their specific weaponry, like the forelimbs?
Oh, the tiger's forelimbs are they're terrifying. The muscle groups in the shoulders and front legs are adapted specifically for grappling and restraining huge prey all by itself.
So it hits harder.
It hits so much harder. We're talking about strikes with estimated impact forces that just dwarf anything a lion can produce.
Okay, so let's talk killing tools. Jaw strength. This data always seems to be the fuzziest. For the lion, I see bite force cited around, 650 psi?
You do, but then you'll see other lab proxies pushing it up toward 1,000.
That's a huge variance.
It is. It often reflects the methodology, but the tiger's metrics, they're generally higher and more consistent. You're looking at around 1,050 psi.
And the canines, the teeth themselves.
A slight but measurable advantage to the tiger there, too. Their canines are around 3.6 inches versus the lion's 3.2.
So when you add it all up, size, striking power, muscle, bite, the physical tail of the tape really goes to the tiger.
Without a doubt, he is the physical champion.
Okay, so we've covered the hardware, but as we all know, the best specs don't always win the fight. Let's talk strategy. This brings us to the art of war. How their evolution dictates completely different fighting styles.
And this is where that analogy of the sumo brawler versus the MMA striker is just so perfect.
The lion is the sumo brawler.
The lion is the sumo brawler. They're social fighters. They're fighting to establish dominance, to defend the pride. It's not always a fight to the death.
These are structured, almost ritualized fights, right?
Exactly. The technique is intimidation, roaring, these big shoving matches. When they're actually fighting, a lion will often keep 3 paws on the ground for stability and just swipe with 1.
They're looking for submission.
They're seeking submission, not annihilation. And that iconic mane.
The thing we associate with royalty.
Right. It's actually purpose-built armor. It's the ultimate defense. That thick hair protects the jugular and the neck from those single-paw swipes from a rival.
So it's evolution designing armor for exactly the way they fight.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And critically, their mentality is to let the rival run away once dominance is established. They don't want to kill them unless they absolutely have to.
Okay, so then you have the tiger, the solitary assassin, the MMA striker.
And if a tiger is in a fight, it is existential.
Life or death.
Absolutely. They are solitary. If a tiger fights, it's over vital resources or territory, and there is no backup coming. A serious injury for a lone predator often means starvation.
And the sources say this leads to a completely different and far more lethal technique.
Oh, completely. The tiger is comfortable rearing up on its hind legs, basically turning into this bipedal boxing machine. It can strike with both front paws at the same time.
Ambidextrously.
Yeah. And with terrifying speed. They don't do shoving matches. They wrestle to kill.
The difference in intent is what gets me. The lion wants submission. The tiger is immediately going for the throat or the spine.
That's the key. A tiger is generally more cautious because it can't afford to get hurt. But once it commits, its aggression is higher and far more lethal because its goal isn't dominance, it's annihilation. It's about neutralizing the threat permanently.
And this seems to be borne out in the historical records. The sources point to these documented one-on-one encounters, right? Colosseums, accidental Z meetings.
And the data there is pretty compelling. The tiger has a significantly higher win rate.
Because it's trained for a different kind of fight.
Exactly. The lion is trained for social wrestling. The tiger is trained for the solo swift assassination. It's faster, it hits harder, and it's designed to end the fight with one devastating move.
Okay, that's a crucial point. So we've established the tiger as the physical champion and the superior individual fighter. But now we have to transition to what really makes this a deep dive. Kingship versus apex. This is where ruler becomes about more than just muscle. It becomes about ecology.
This is where we shift from looking at the combatants to looking at the system they govern. It's the difference between the politician and the Roman.
The lion is the politician.
The lion rules entirely through coalition, through the pride. It's a gang mentality. Our sources are very clear that a single male lion is actually tremendously vulnerable
To other lions.
to rival coalitions and even to organized groups of hyenas. Their apex status isn't maintained by individual might. It's maintained by coordinated warfare and just sheer numbers. They're the only truly social big cat.
So if you remove the pride, you kind of remove the king.
You do. A single lion is just a very big but very exposed predator. His dominance is a social construct.
And then you have the tiger, the Ronin, the lone warrior.
The Ronin rules through absolute individual supremacy. A male tiger patrols this enormous territory all by himself, up to 100 square miles for a big male.
100 square miles alone.
Alone. He has to hunt alone, defend his territory alone, survive alone.
And to survive like that requires a level of individual perfection that the politician, the lion, just doesn't need.
Not at all. If a lion makes a mistake, the pride covers him. If he gets hurt, the pride hunts for him. If a tiger makes a mistake,
He starves.
he starves. The tiger's very survival is a daily testament to its individual capability. That solitude creates immense pressure for the individual to be flawless.
And you see this so clearly in their hunting strategies. Lions, open savannas, cooperative hunting. They use the group's chaos.
Right, they take down large herd animals together. But the tiger lives in dense forests, swamps. It relies on stealth and ambush. It's a master tactician of silence.
And they take down prey alone that's bigger than what a single lion could handle.
Significantly bigger. Things like massive gaur or water buffalo.
You included this incredible detail in the sources about them moving their kills.
Yes, a single tiger has been known to drag a carcass weighing nearly a ton.
Wait, a ton? That's the weight of a small car.
It is. Dragging it over significant distances, sometimes uphill. That is pure, solitary brute force. It tells you everything you need to know about the power-to-weight ratio and the absolute need for self-reliance. A lion would never even attempt that alone.
So if we synthesize all this, we have a tiger with superior individual strength and lethal technique versus a lion with superior social organization and open territory control. It can't be a blanket victory for either one, can it?
It cannot. The sources are absolutely clear on this. The crown is context dependent. If we're going to define ruler biologically, we have to look at the context they rule over.
Okay, so let's lay out the final verdict, the context-dependent conclusion that satisfies all this data.
If we're talking pure 1v1 combat or solo predatory skill, the tiger wins, no question.
It's heavier, stronger, fights to kill.
Exactly. It is the biological perfect weapon.
But when we zoom out, when we talk about territorial control at the guild level, the social governance of a habitat,
The lion wins. But, and this is a huge but, it wins only because of the power of the coalition. The group allows them to dominate open, competitive habitats with rivals like hyenas. They maintain control through organized social power.
so the bottom line, which is just such a satisfying synthesis of everything, is that the cultural idea of king and the biological reality of apex are worn by two different animals.
Absolutely. The lion is the king because he has an army. He rules the open savanna through social structure. The tiger is the apex because he is the army. He's the solitary overlord of the forest, earning the biological crown through sheer individual capability.
That's profound. The visible cultural idea of a king relies on the lion's social structure, his visibility. But true self-reliant biological supremacy requires the isolation and perfection of the tiger?
And that leads us to a really serious and kind of sobering question for the future. We learned that the solitary apex tiger needs that huge, unbroken territory to survive, 100 square miles.
And both species are critically endangered or vulnerable, right, because of habitat loss.
Exactly. Habitat loss and fragmentation, driven by us.
A heartbreaking reality.
So if the very definition of the tiger's success relies on enormous, uninterrupted isolation, and the lion's success relies on the sustained integrity of its pride, we have to ask, in our modern world where habitats are constantly shrinking, which of those structures?
The solitary apex or the social king?
Right. Which one is fundamentally more vulnerable to extinction? It makes you wonder if the very trait that made them dominant will be the reason they can't survive the next century.